All right, all day fam. It's good. Be back again tonight for our daily, nightly football news across the NFL, across college football. Let's see what we got. So I think from the top of my head, the first news we got is Jesse Minter leaving. The Chargers losing Jesse Minter. So that's a bummer. And here's the thing, though. I'm not. It's a bummer because Jesse Minter did call a very good defense for us. We had what top five defense, top 10, top five defense in the NFL for the past 2 years. But I saw holes in that defense. I saw question marks in that defense that left me questionable. And there were some times where our defense got steamrolled. I don't think Jesse Minter was like the best thing walking in the NFL as a defensive coordinator. So I think that it's safe to say that the Chargers can replace him. We can we can definitely get somebody else to complement Jesse Minter or to replace Jesse Minter because I feel like Jesse Minter, he was a great defensive coordinator. I think he'll do probably well for the Ravens, but there's some guys out there that can we still got the personnel with the Chargers, and there's guys out there who I think can fit right in as our defensive coordinator. And the Chargers defense will be perfectly fine. We still got we got Darren James, still got Khalil Mack, Owe, Tui Louis to Lope too. We got RJ Mickens. We drafting great defensive guys. We still have Phillips. We still got Tier Tart. Some of those guys, a lot of those guys are on their I'm not rookie contract, but on a they're due a contract, they're due a deal, but Joe Ortiz is going to get it done. And I know that Joe Ortiz and Jim Harbaugh, they're going to find a defensive coordinator to replace Jesse Minter. I was thinking maybe Navarro Bowman, but I saw that Navarro Bowman decided to step away. So not Navarro Bowman, but I think we'll be fine, man. We'll be fine. Let me see what we got. Let's see. Let's look at this article right here. So Ravens hired Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter as the next head coach. The Ravens are turning back toward the Harbaugh tree for their next head coach. Baltimore has hired Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter. Okay, you just said that. The team announced the hire shortly thereafter. Minter signed a 5-year deal, so he's with them for quite a while. So Minter signed a 5-year deal. Minter, he's 42, will be the fourth head coach of Ravens franchise history. Wow, only fourth head coach. I think Pittsburgh had like 5. So succeeding Ted Marchibroda, Brian Billick, and John Harbaugh, who was fired early this month. This will be Minter's first time as a head coach at any level. And so Minter said, I am truly honored to serve as the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. This is an organization whose values, culture, and tradition of excellence reflecting everything I believe about the game of football and how it should be played. Minter was one of the league's most popular candidates in the hiring cycle, interviewing with the Falcons, Browns, Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, and Titans, in addition to Baltimore. I don't think he interviewed with the Browns. So this was a statement by General Manager Eric DeCosta. We are thrilled to announce an agreement with Jesse Minter to be the fourth head coach in Baltimore Ravens history. Jesse is a strong leader who possesses a brilliant football mind and a spirit that will resonate with our players and fans base alike. Jesse comes from a football family with success at every level of the sport, and we are confident that he is the right coach to lead the Ravens forward. Congratulations to Jesse and his wife, Rachel, and the entire Minter family. It's time to get to work. So Jesse Minter heads back to Baltimore to take the top job after spending the last 4 seasons working under Jim Harbaugh at both Michigan in 2022 to 2023 and with the Chargers 2024-2025. Prior to those stints, Minter worked under John Harbaugh with the Ravens from 2017 to 2020 as a defensive assistant, climbing the coaching ranks while staying within the Harbaugh family. Jesse is a strong leader who possesses a brilliant football mind and a spirit that. Oh yeah, I hear you said that. So, hey man, I like I said before, I don't think I don't think Jesse Minter is as great as advertised as a defensive coordinator. Like I said, I do think he's really good, but I think he's a little bit overrated. I think that with like I said, I watch every single Chargers game. I always watch Chargers, and there was a lot of holes in that defense, and I wasn't really all that impressed with our. Oh yeah, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't really all that impressed with. How can I say? Because there was some times where the Chargers' deep passing defense, they will definitely give up a lot of big yardage. And I saw that when we played the Chiefs. I saw that when we played the Broncos. I mean, if Bo Nix wasn't missing throws, we would have we would have lost that game. And there were times where I saw we were giving up a lot of big plays against I think it was against the Dolphins. It was also against the Jags, against the Colts. So there were there, and that's just naming a few that I can just think of right now. There were times where our defense really was exposed as Jesse Minter being our defensive coordinator. So I don't really think he's as great as advertised, and so he can be replaced. I haven't done my research to see what guys we can replace for Jesse Minter, or or maybe we can hire somebody in house. I don't know, but I'm not all that worried about losing Jesse Minter as most Charger fans are. I'm just really not. So I'm happy for Jesse Minter, getting a shot. I think everybody knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I think we were all expecting it to happen last year, and it didn't happen last year. There was no opening coaching jobs. A lot of coaches got fired this year. So Jesse Minter's name was one of the hot coaches in the bunch. He went on. I mean, hey, you lose some, you gain some. We got Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel is much better coordinator. Will be a much better coordinator for the Chargers and for the success of Justin Herbert than Jesse Minter. So so we got Mike McDaniel. So to be honest with you, I think if Mike McDaniel, if he really learns under Jim Harbaugh, he doesn't leave LA at all. A lot of people are saying, he's going to be with LA maybe for a year or two, but I'm thinking maybe he literally does like it in LA. Maybe he's getting treated very well in LA. Maybe he's like a head coach number 2. Jim Harbaugh said out his own mouth he's looking for a head coach for the offense. So that's a bigger title than just an offensive coordinator. So I'm thinking, Jim Harbaugh is going to be with us for however long he wants to be with us, and Mike McDaniel is still young. He can just succeed Harbaugh when Harbaugh leaves. That could happen. I don't know, but I mean, I can see it happening. It depends on what Mike McDaniel wants to do. But it seems like Mike McDaniel was pretty eager to come to LA and coach Justin Herbert. It seemed like Mike McDaniel, he wanted to be in LA. And I don't know who he interviewed with. Who did Mike? I don't know if did Mike McDaniel even interview with anybody? Let me see. Before the Chargers? Because I know he told the Browns that he didn't want to interview with them. Let me see. Okay, so I think he did interview, but okay, so he did interview with these teams, some certain teams, but he pretty much told all the teams that he didn't want to go with him. Yeah, he wanted the Ravens job. I think Mike McDaniel wanted the Ravens job. Did he interview with the Ravens? So I know he passed up on the Bucks. So he did. I know he did. Okay, so I know he interviewed with the Bucks. He interviewed with I think he interviewed with the Eagles, but I think he passed up on the Bucks in the Eagles, and there's a lot of word on the street why he did that. But hey, The point I'm making is that Mike McDaniel pretty much made it clear that he wanted to coach Justin Herbert. So it would have been interesting to see him with the Ravens. So I guess I don't know if the Ravens didn't want him as the head coach or whatnot. If that I guess that's what you were saying, but I don't think this is like I said. I don't think this is as big as a loss that we lost Jesse Minter. And I honestly, I'm not hating on Jesse Minter or anything like that. Like I said, I just think he's not as good as advertised, and I honestly don't think that he's going to be all that great of a head coach in Baltimore. I think a lot of people think he may, but he was a really good defensive coordinator. But just because you're a really good defensive coordinator, just because you're a good coordinator, doesn't mean that you're going to be a great head coach. And so I think he's going to find that out really quick. I think he moved on too fast. I think he should have stayed with the Chargers at least for a few more years and then try to get on a head coaching job. I mean, because one thing, he's a defensive coordinator. And not a lot of defensive coordinators in the NFL are having any kind of success. They really aren't. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I think with Jesse Minter, with him abruptly going to the Ravens, I mean, it's a sexy job. You got Lamar Jackson and him being a defensive coordinator. Lamar Jackson needs help to get over the hump. And how is Jesse Minter going to help him with that? John Harbaugh was a defensive coach, and John Harbaugh, he couldn't help him. He couldn't do it. So why would Jesse Minter be any different? Unless Jesse Minter really gets a hot offensive coach out there around into Baltimore, it's not going to happen. Now, if he can get somebody like Brian Daboll, if he can get somebody like Brian Daboll in Baltimore, that would be good. That would be a good hire. Brian Daboll with Lamar Jackson. Brian Daboll is phenomenal with running quarterbacks. So Brian Daboll would be an excellent hire for the Ravens if Jesse Minter can pull those strings. Now, if Jesse Minter can pull those strings, okay, now we talking. Now we're talking. But he's going to find out very, very quick, though. Being a head coach is different than being a coordinator. I don't think that I don't think he learned. I mean, for him just being an assistant back in 2017, and then him being a defensive coach, defensive coordinator for Michigan for 2 years, and then for the Chargers for 2 years. I just There were times where I just wasn't really all that impressed with his defensive coaching for the Chargers. I just wasn't, and I've said this for throughout the entire season. I was saying it like when we played against the Chiefs. I was like, I don't like how our secondary was getting exposed by Mahomes. I said it with Bronco. I was like, if Bo Nix were missing on those throws, we would have lost that game by Bo Nix. So I mean, but I know the guys, the players, they love him. They'll run through a big raw for him. They think he's a mad scientist on the defensive side. So I mean, it is what it is, man. But we'll see, man. We're going to see. This season is going to be upon us faster than we know it, and we will witness who Jesse Minter really is with the Chargers. A lot of these teams. Every like when the season starts, I mean, everything starts fresh. Everything starts fresh. Like teams don't pick up from when they picked up from last year. So there's like a delusion that most people think that a lot of teams they pick up where they pick up from where they left off the previous year, and they really don't. That's why some teams when they win the Super Bowl, they're like, it doesn't matter anymore. The Super Bowl, we won the Super Bowl last year. This is a whole new season, whole new team. Every team is new. It's brand new. So everybody's starting off fresh. Everybody is equal. So we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out what Jesse Minter is gonna do for the Ravens. So hopefully for his sake, he's gonna do a good job there. But let's see. Let's see what other news we got in NFL. Let's see. What we got. Oh yeah, there was talk about when the Ravens coach. I meant the Ravens. The Bills. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that. The Bills general manager on Keon Coleman. Oh, let me see if I can find that video when he was talking about Keon Coleman. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see here. Well, and while I'm looking for the video, I'm just going to try to say what he said by verbatim. So the the Bills GM during a press conference, he interrupts. No, the Bills owner during the press conference, he interrupts the GM and he speaks for the GM. He goes, "I just want to make clear that Keon Coleman was not our number one choice. We didn't want Keon Coleman. Sean McDermott wanted Keon Coleman." He said that live during a press conference. I've never in my time, I never in my life seen an owner just flat out say that about a player. Okay, this is all right. Here's one press conference, and I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna see what some of these people got to say about it. So here it is. So hold on, let me pull it up. Because now, if I was Keon Coleman, that would be a huge wake up call to me. Because I'll be down if the owner of my team that I'm playing for will flat out just say that about me, like pretty much throwing me under the bus. You know, that's this is completely disrespectful. And I've never seen a head coach, a GM, an owner straight up say, "Yeah, we didn't trust me, we didn't want him." I wouldn't even want to play for that team anymore, to be honest. But Keon Coleman, he hasn't done anything since he's been with the Bills, and he has been a huge disappointment. And I think the Bills are turning into a dumpster fire. Yeah, they are. And the crazy thing about it is everybody is pointing fingers in the Bills organization, but nobody is blaming Josh Allen for anything. It's always it's Sean McDermott's fault, it's Keon Coleman's fault, it's everybody else's fault, but Josh Allen. And Josh Allen is the one. Josh Allen is the main reason why they lost that game. We can't even blame it on the team. It was the team because every single time when the Bills would lose, all throughout the entire year, and I wasn't even surprised, but I was never heavy big on the Bills, but and I don't know if anybody caught this, but every single time the Bills lost, it was always an excuse. The Bills the Bills don't have enough weapons for Josh Allen. They're not a talented team. Josh Allen can't do it all on himself. He's Superman. He can't do it all on himself. Okay, so if he can't do it all on himself, then he's not Superman. That's how that works. Superman did everything by himself. Well, he did have Justice League, but you guys know what I'm saying. But let me see. I think I got the video. So hold on, let me pull it up. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
This thing is find this because it's kind of freezing. But as I pull this video up, I thought I had it up, but it's kind of freaking freezing up. But as a former player myself, if I would have heard my GM, my coach, talking about me like that, that would have lit a freaking that would have set the fire that's already within me even more. That would have poured the gasoline on the fire that was already within me. Because me, I'm the type of guy, I'm an obsessed individual, and I like when I involved in something, when I do something, I just throw my entire soul at it. Like right now, I have many different interests, so I pretty much am involved in a lot of different things. But I'm obsessed because I'm an obsessed learner. I love to learn many different things. But when I was playing football, that was it. That was the only thing I cared about. I didn't really care about much people. I didn't care about family. I didn't really care about a lot of things. And that it's not healthy to be that way. But I loved the game so much. I kind of lost a little bit of I kind of lost a little bit of my mind a little bit because I was so locked in. All I cared about was just going to the NFL, and I wanted to be a Hall of Famer one day. And some players, some guys who makes it to the NFL, I think us as fans, we're delusional thinking that some of these guys who makes it to the pros that they actually care about the game. Not everybody does, and not everybody even loves football like that. Just because they're a football player doesn't mean that just because they're a professional football player doesn't mean they love the game like that. But I knew I would have been one of those guys who would have been sleeping in the freaking facility my first few years because I was like, I want to be great. I don't want to just be in the league. I want to be great. Obviously, Keon Coleman is not one of those guys. And the franchise, they know who's committed and who's not. They know who's locked in and who's not. So I get the owner's frustration. I get his frustration on Keon Coleman. I'm not mad at the owner for saying I'm not mad at the owner for feeling that way. I'm just kind of think it's a little bit messed up for him to go to the press conference and say that. I don't really know what he would have gained out of that by him saying that in the press conference. Saying it behind closed doors, saying it to Keon Coleman's face, that's one thing. You know, if you're the owner of the team, you're the boss. You don't answer. You answer to no one, and you don't like your players' commitment. Yo, if I'm the owner, I was like, bro, we didn't want you. I didn't want you. I didn't want you on this team. The coach that we fired wanted you on this team, and you're still doing the same stupid stuff that you were doing when that coach that we just fired from this team you're still doing that same dumb stuff. So why should we keep you? You know, I would say something like that, straightforward, straight up. But I wouldn't go to the press conference and say that. So I don't know what was the reason of him saying that. I guess he wanted to get word out to him that way. But I think some things is a lot of things in the NFL are better said in closed doors. And the fact that the owner did that, I just don't see anything good happening out of Buffalo anytime soon. Because to me, he's creating a toxic place for those players. And he might create a lot of adversity in that locker room by him doing that. I feel like owners, if they want their franchise to be very successful, and it's obvious that the Bills owner does, otherwise he wouldn't be doing the things he's doing and saying the things he's saying. But if you really want your franchise to be successful, I think as the owner, if you're going to show yourself in the limelight, uh, not much things should be said about your players in a negative sense. If you got something negative to say about your players, say it to the coaches, say it to the players, say it to the staff, but don't say it to the media. That it just shows me that it just makes me feel like you're separating yourself from them. And I believe if those players, if they're not really if they don't really appreciate the owner, if they feel like the owner don't appreciate them, in my opinion, I don't think those players is going to really give their all on Sundays when the games are here. So, granted, a lot of these owners, a lot of these GMs, a lot of the people in the front office, they don't really know that much about football. They never played it down in football. So they're just thinking in their own world. They're reacting and behaving in their own circle. But That's why a lot of team franchises suck. That's why some franchises are great consistently year in, year out, because we got owners, some very few owners who do understand the game of football, who do appreciate football players, who do know how hard it is, and who do care, and who's not going to disrespect players just because they're a multi-billionaire and those players don't matter that much to them. We see it all the time with the great franchises, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the I would say the Ravens and the Steelers, but not anymore. The Ravens and the Steelers are very inconsistent, but historically, those two franchises are like that. The Giants are like that. Now the Giants are terrible, but the Giants historically are like that. We got teams that like those few teams that from the owner on down that they really do care about football, and they care about their players, and they care about their coaches, and they treat their coaches with the high regard. They treat their players with the high regard. Not all franchises are like that. And that's why when you talk about winning a Super Bowl, it really takes a whole freaking city, man. It takes more than just the players. It takes more than just the coaches. That's a big part of the pie. Don't get me wrong. Without the great players and great coaches, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. But it takes more than that. It takes the franchise to be behind you. The owner, the GM, the front office, even the damn city. It takes all of that for you to win a Super Bowl. I don't think people really realize how hard it is just to win a game in the NFL, let alone a playoff game, then let alone going to the Super Bowl and winning it. That's incredibly hard. The NFL is the elite of the elite. So when you're talking about that, the elite of the elite in just the regular season, in the playoffs, it's the elite of the elite of the elite. And then when you talk about the Super Bowl, the elite of the elite of the elite of the two main elites of all 30 other teams who made it. Only two teams, only one team can win it. And it's only one time. It's not playing multiple times like the NBA Finals when you get so many chances to beat a team. You see them. No, it's not like that. It's only one time. In the NFL, it's only one game. Think about that. These guys, they dedicate their entire lives. Their entire life. They see their teammates and their coaches more than they see their own family. So it's 365 days of grind just to win a game. Think about that. And you only get one shot. If you lose that game, that's it. That's going to hurt. Why do you think so many of these guys they like guys like I criticize Josh Allen a lot. I'm like he's probably one of his biggest critics, but I have to because the media overpraises this guy and they knock my quarterback Justin Herbert. So if you're going to knock my quarterback Justin Herbert and overpraise another quarterback who really turns the ball over way more than my QB and historically is a turnover machine, but you give freaking excuses for him and you knock my quarterback, I'm gonna criticize him because I honestly feel like I honestly know Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Josh Allen. That's just that. But I digress. What my point is that when you saw Josh Allen when he was crying after the playoff game, it wasn't crying just because they lost. No, it was crying because of all the work that he put in since January all the way up until this January and him losing and him not playing his best game. And then also for the referees to have a questionable play call, which that wasn't a catch, it was an interception. But when you're on the Bills, you're going to be biased and be like, that was a catch. So I get it. You're going to be delusional and be like, nah. But in reality, it wasn't a catch. But I digress. The fact of the matter that I'm saying, the point that I'm saying is that football, there is no sport in the entire world, that there is that there is as much emotional and mental and physical investment as the game as a whole. put together as a game of football. I'm telling you this right now. Like from a person who's I played a lot of different sports. I know I know quite a few guys who in the NFL right now who's not out of the NFL, former players. Football, what makes the game so special, what makes the game the number one game in the entire world is the emotional investment from the players, the coaches, and even the fans into this game. Because what makes the game so great is the preparation, the preparation that goes along with it, and the anticipation that builds up through January, through the winter, all the way up until August preseason. And in that preparation, that grind, that mold, the energy, the mental toughness, and then it's like, bro, it's preseason now, bro. Let's get it. Let's put them pads on. I know preseason games don't matter like that, but they do matter because now we about to go out here and test all the work that we put in, and we're gonna prepare for about 2 to 4 weeks now for the regular season. I mean, there's nothing. That's a huge point. Never thought about that. I'm telling you that's what makes the game so special, man. Like it's the anticipation, football is an emotional investment. It's a lot of emotional investment in football. It's a momentum sport as well. Like when you even watch the games, the team with the most momentum, like one team will make the fumble or one team will cause a turnover, and then they get the ball, and then that team goes back and score. It's not the game isn't fixed. It's a momentum game. It's literally that's why when they say like when you get to the NFL, you can be very, very athletic in high school and you can get over on players by your pure talent, athleticism in high school. You can do the same thing in college. But when you get to the NFL, athleticism and talent is not going to get you anywhere because in NFL, everybody is talented. Everybody is talented. That doesn't get you nowhere. What gets you somewhere, what gets you from point A to point B in the NFL, and for you to continue on with a great career and let alone be great is not just your commitment, but is your mental toughness. Is your mental toughness in your self-confidence in yourself. You have to almost be delusional in a way. You have to like be so locked in, so dialed in for you just to really not give a damn and just throw your whole soul at it. You know, while you're in the pros like that, and that's why it's just so hard to win it just a game in the pros. Like Jim Harbaugh even said it himself. He said it's so hard to prepare for these games and to win a game in the NFL. I even wish that sometimes it was a little easier. I was surprised when Jim Harbaugh said that last part. I sometimes wish it would just be a little easier. Easy. And Jim easy, I never would have thought the word easy would have came out of Jim Harbaugh's mouth. You know, if you listen to his press conferences, if you know the type of guy that Jim Harbaugh is, he's a guy that he thirsts for discomfort. So that just tells you how insanely difficult it is to prepare for this game and to go out there and try to beat somebody who's just as prepared or even more prepared than you are. I'm telling you, man. Telling you. And I kind of, to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out to this day how are some guys playing in the league and they actually don't care. They actually really are just playing for the paycheck. For me, there's not enough money in the world for me to put my entire soul on the line and to get paid millions of dollars. I can do other things. You see what I'm saying? I don't really get it because like I know some people think that the game is fixed and they think players are in on it or whatever. They think players are just only doing it for the money, but I'm contradicting myself right now because I know how hard it is to play the game. And it's hard for me to think that even the players that don't care, it's hard for me to believe that when they're playing that they literally just don't care at all because it's too risky. It's too risky to put your body on the line and to have to risk concussions and get brain injuries from years from after the sport. It's way too risky. So I don't know, but all I know is I can only speak for myself and some guys that I know. I didn't just play the game just because I wanted fat checks. Like I wanted to have a Hall of Fame career, and I told God, when I was in high school, I was like, if I don't be a Hall of Famer, I don't want to go pro. And I guess that's the reason why I didn't go pro. Because I didn't want to be Hall of Famer. I didn't want to be an average Joe. I just didn't. I didn't want to just go to the NFL and then just have a regular career and that was it. No, I wanted to be the elite of the elite. I wanted to be the best. And some guys are like that. Some guys aren't. Like Chad Ochocinco, he said that he slept in the freaking facility. Chad Ochocinco was somebody who was obsessed. He lived there. I mean, and Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, like these guys, like they're not football players, but the obsession, the psychopathic trait that you gotta have if you want to be great. Only so many guys have that. Only so many guys have that. And those are the guys that I can relate to. Those are the people that I can relate to. That's not in sports, just in life in general, really. I think obsession is a beautiful thing that can keep you from being average. There's actually a book called Be Obsessed or Die or something like that. Y'all should look into it. Y'all should really look into it. But in the meantime, let me see if I can pull this video up by the Bills owner. I wanted to show y'all this real quick. Let's see. Hold on. I don't know why. Oh, okay. I think I found it. All right, hold on. Oh my God, what the hell? Let's see here. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to show this real quick.
First, I want to thank Sean McDermott for all the work he's done in Buffalo over the last 9 years. We all remember the playoff drought before Sean got here. Sean has definitely left the Buffalo Bills in a better place than when he arrived in 2017. He gave his heart and soul to trying to win a championship. I gave Sean his first head coaching job, and I'm proud of that. I don't think he's done coaching in this league, and I wish him the best. I also want to thank him and his wife, Jamie, for the kind words and thoughts that they gave to me when Kim had her sudden cardiac arrest. And, it was really encouraging for all the kind thoughts that they gave our family while we were going through that ordeal. My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed was our quarterback with his head down, crying. I looked at all the other players. I looked at their faces and our coaches. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, "That was a catch." We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had to try to win that game. And looking around, so did all the other players on the team. I saw the pain in Josh's face at his presser, and I felt his pain. I know we can do better, and I know we will get better. I want to express my confidence in the guy sitting next to me, Brandon Bean, and the job he has done in resurrecting this franchise. I'm not going to sit here and defend everything that we have done as a franchise, but the bottom line is we have attracted good people here. Brandon has brought in Joe Shane, who's now the GM in New York, Dan Morgan, the GM in Carolina, Dennis Hickey, former GM in Miami, and our own Brian Gain, who's still here with us, former GM in Houston. There have been some very talented people that Brandon is associated with that he's brought through the front door here at One Bills Drive. I'm aware there's criticism out there about our franchise. Does anyone know what the numbers 523, 2226 represent? I'm asking a question. No? That's our seeding over the last 7 years in the playoffs.
The
Trying
report
to see
is
when
that
he-
was part of what has led to this today. You're not being happy with his assessment. Either one of you,
Talked about Keon Coleman.
We've been close, as Terry said.
Brandon,
Feeling the moment. You don't do that without talent in the front office getting you there.
We thought could help us. Through last draft, through last offseason.
Yeah, I don't know where the video is at. Wait. Oh wait, hold on. I think that's it. Hold on. He was talking about the draft. Hold on. Let me see. Let me put it back up.
Was very involved and his coaches. You have to make a decision. But the thing I would applaud what Sean and I have had here, this has been 9 seasons, not something like 2 or 3. This has been 9 seasons that we did a lot of good things and brought in a lot of good players and a lot of good coaches and won a ton of football games. I think we've won 60-some% of our games, which is, which says there's been success. What Terry, has said was the proverbial playoff wall. So I don't think that's anything dissolved. I think that was the decision he made. We were still communicating through last draft, through last offseason. It was a heavy defensive draft. And Sean was very involved, and his coaches in the selections that we were making and getting the guys on the field and develop them. So I don't think it got to a point where we were signing or drafting players, out of alignment.
if I can clarify too. 'Cause
Tim,
yeah.
you can't, I wouldn't use the word dissolve. We all debate and argue
Myself,
about pressure
All right.
right now.
2020, the pros and cons convince me. No, I'll be the GM. It's
A section of the fan base that
way out of it all.
Let me see. I want to find that. Yeah, but anyway. We'll see we'll see who I'm curious to see who the Bills are going to hire. I think they want to bring in Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll's name came up for the Bills. So I'm talking about maybe Brian Daboll could be a really good match for Baltimore, which he would. But if he can go to back to Buffalo, hey, I guess that'll be good for Josh Allen. I mean, he's the one who really revolutionized. He's the one that really got Josh Allen running because Josh Allen wasn't all that good prior to Ryan Dayball and them getting Stephon Diggs. So that'll be an interesting hire if the Bills can get Brian Dayball in. But I did wanted to find this clip for y'all, man, but I can't find it. I don't know, I don't know what to do. Like, let me see what's going. Let me see if I can sure it is. All right. I really love that. Mm. That's the part I'm trying to get to, but I'm curious to see what they're gonna say. Curious to see. Right. That's what I was saying before. That's exactly what I was saying before. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the Keon Coleman. All right, here we go. All right, so yeah, that was the clip I wanted to show y'all. But like I said before, if I was a player on the team and my owner was talking about me like that, for one, that would have set me off. I would have went even harder. I would have been in the gym that night, especially if I'm, Keon Coleman. He has been very underwhelming since he's been in the league. But I just felt like that was what that owner did was it was bad. I mean, through his coach under there, but I mean, well, he was his coach and Murray fired him, but threw Sean McDermott under the bus, and then he freaking threw his player that's still on the team under the bus. So I mean, if I was Keon Coleman, I wouldn't even want to play for the Bills anymore, to be honest with you. But at the same time, he doesn't really have much. I don't think he has much stock out there, so he's going to have no other choice but to play for the Bills. I also read that Josh Allen obviously is going to have a lot of say so in who's the next hiring. But I mean, given the fact of what's going on in Buffalo, would a coach even want to go out there and play? I mean, and coach for the Bills? That's the huge question, in my opinion. Would I want to go coach for the Bills? Because the fact of the matter is that if you come up short, which the Bills are going to still keep coming up short, because Josh Allen, he hit his wall. He's not going to get any better. He's not going to get any better. He's going to only keep getting older, and probably the type of quarterback that he is, he's going to get worse. Josh Allen's running game is a big part of his game. We saw what happened to Cam Newton. Cam Newton was only able to do what he did for so long because of the type of quarterback that he was. That's going to be the same result for Josh Allen. It really is. And Josh Allen doesn't play smart football. He's not a smart quarterback. A lot of people knock Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert, he runs when he needs to. He doesn't take the necessary shots, and he doesn't turn the ball over like Josh Allen does. Now, this year, Justin Herbert did turn the ball over quite a bit. And Justin Herbert does have some blames. Does have a lot of blame to go with that. But Justin Herbert's issue a lot was the offensive coordinator and Greg Roman. Josh Allen is known for being careless with the football. He always has been. And if we're not being biased fans here, we see that how he was holding that ball when he was toting it and he fumbled it. Cost that team a lot of turnovers. Josh Allen was the reason why they lost. It wasn't Sean McDermott's fault. But at the same time, they need somebody to blame. It was Sean McDermott. Me as a head coach, I'm seeing that. And I seen how the owner is like how he just threw the head coach under the bus. And not only the head coach, a player that's still on the roster there under the bus. I would not want to play for the Bills. I see a lot of guys. Now, this is something I want to talk about too. I see a lot of coaches. They were dissing the Browns, saying they didn't want to play for Cleveland, which I don't think that really has much to do with Shedeur. I just think it has much more to do with the Cleveland Browns. organization, that being a toxic organization. I think that has more to do with that. I'm looking at Buffalo. Buffalo is not an attractive place for me to play at if I'm a head coach. It really isn't. I was like, okay, they got a potential Hall of Fame quarterback in Josh Allen, but if they come up short from me having a quarterback who's very careless with the ball and who has a history of a lot of turnovers, that's going to fall back on me, and I'm going to have to want to take all the blame for that. And then not only that, not take all the blame for that because you should take the blame for anything, but the owner is going to throw you on. The owner is he is very he can throw you under the bus because he's shown that. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to coach for a team like that. I really wouldn't. I would look at the Ravens. I would look at more stable franchises. Well, Jesse Manor is there. I will look at the Steelers, or I don't know what other positions are open, but I don't think I would want. If I was a head coach, I just wouldn't want to coach at the Bills. I just wouldn't. It's just not an attractive place for me to coach at. But we're going to see, man. We're going to see again this year. The Bills, they fired their head coach, and we're going to see whoever they bring in, if they can help Josh Allen get over the hump. Josh Allen and the Bills get over the hump, which I don't think they are. The Chargers are getting better, even though we lost Jesse Minter. I don't think that's going to be really a big deal. I honestly think they gotten better. They gotten better because Justin Herbert just gotten better. And Justin Herbert gotten better because we just got an offensive coordinator that is going to make Justin Herbert better. So the Chargers are going to be something to look out for this year. And I said to myself prior to the Mike McDaniels hire, I said to myself that I'm done saying the Chargers are going to do something there this year. I'm done with it. I say it every year, and every year as a Charger fan, diehard Charger fan, I keep getting let down. And so I was like, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I was like, they need to just get rid of everybody. And that was what I was saying to my brother. But I was like, if we can fire Greg Roman, which they did in 24 hours, and then if we get Mike McDaniel, which they did in less than a week, okay, I'm gonna be a believer again. I'm gonna say, I was like, maybe okay, this is it. This is it for Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, especially if we can keep Mike McDaniel, especially if we can keep Jesse Minter. Oh, this is it for the Chargers. The Chargers should be able to go all the way. They're gonna be dangerous. But Jesse Minter wanted to leave. It's okay though. We can replace him. But we got Mike McDaniel though, man. That's the biggest hire right after Jim Harbaugh. It might be a bigger hire than Jim Harbaugh, to be honest with you. It really might be a bigger hire than Jim Harbaugh. Mike McDaniel really wasn't all that bad of a coach. I just think Mike McDaniel was a little bit inexperienced. But now, what other great coach can he learn from under than Jim Harbaugh? So he got experience. We saw what Mike McDaniel did with Tua. What do you think he's going to do with Herbert? Herbert just needs a little bit more extra. That's all Herbert needs. This is going to be awesome, man. This is going to be very exciting. Oh, the Raiders position is open. I would have to be honest with you, I would have chose the Raiders over. I would choose the Raiders over the Bills if I was the head coach. I know the media likes to say, the quarterback, these Hall of Fame quarterbacks, that's the most obvious pick. The Bills is not obvious to me. To me, it looks like a toxic environment from what that owner is doing. That I wouldn't want to go coach for it's like the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't want to coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones just seems too much of a toxic owner to me. So, but the Raiders, I would love to coach for the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a great historic franchise, even though the Raiders suck right now. But and then you got Tom Brady there now. I mean, Al Davis, the other guy. What's the Raiders? I forget the Raiders. What's the Raiders owner's name? Mark Davis. I'll say it, Al Davis. I knew it wasn't Al Davis. I know he died some years back, but Mark Davis. That's what Tom Brady there. Mark Davis. I think that's a good position for a head coach to go to. But the Bills, no. I would choose, like I said, I would choose Steelers, Raiders, whatever other position. The Browns, no. So, but the teams that I don't think teams that I think that had terrible hires is the Falcons, the Titans, and the Ravens. Those three coaches, I don't think those three coaches are going to do anything. Well, no, what? I take that back. I do think I know this isn't a popular opinion, but I do think that Stefanski might be okay with the Ravens. I mean, with the Falcons. I think he might be all right. I really do. I don't think he's as bad as most people think. I think he got a bad rap on him because like how he was treating the whole Shedeur situation. I've already talked about that in one of my last videos. But I honestly, Kevin Stefanski is an offensive mind, and he's not that bad of a coach. He's not that bad of an offensive coach. I honestly think he's going to be all right with the Falcons. And that Falcons team is way too talented. Way too talented. The personnel is way too talented for him not to. And he has done well with running backs. So he did well with what's his name, Juckins. He did well with Chubb or Nick Chubb. He did, and then you got Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is the most talented running back that he's ever going to have. So I honestly do think that team, the Falcons, are going to be pretty good, and Stefanski is going to surprise a lot of people. So, and you guys got to remember like how hard it is to win in Cleveland. I mean, they're not a historically winning franchise, so you can't blame all of that on Stefanski. Like, oh, what did he win? We do with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Baker Mayfield gets a lot of credit for winning a playoff game with the Browns. Why can't Stefanski get some credit? You know, I honestly think nobody really cared that much to not give him any credit prior to the Shedeur situation. When Shedeur got there, people started hating Stefanski. Again, I don't like how he handled the Shedeur situation. You don't make it obvious that you don't like your player, especially as a head coach. You don't do that. And to be honest with you, I think as a head coach, you better like your player. You're coaching him. You better be there for him. You're supposed to make things easier for him to produce on the field. Because if he don't, that's you. That's on you, bro. So I think it's completely stupid and asinine to not like your player and to let alone go into the media and show it. You're just dumb. You're dumb. Stefanski is dumb for that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not freaking giving excuses for Stefanski. I'm not a Stefanski's fan, but I did think that he did have some pretty good. I think he did have some pretty good coaching seasons prior to Shedeur going there. I honestly did. So I don't think should be any different with him going to the Falcons. And I think Michael Penix is more of his type of quarterback than Shedeur is. But Michael Penix can stay his ass on the field. So we really don't know what type of NFL quarterback that Michael Penix can be. But if Michael Penix is going to be what I think he's going to be, I think if Stefanski can help get Michael Penix to where he's going to be, I think that the Falcons are going to be Falcons are in good hands. So, yeah, that's all I have for tonight. I always come on this chat thinking like, oh, because I come on here, you know, I want to be consistent coming on here, and it's late. You know, I'm getting out of class and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to jump on there for 30 minutes. And then I get on, I hit an hour. So I think that's more than enough for right now. And if you all want more, come back tomorrow night. We're going to chop it up some more. And what I'm trying to do is throughout the day, just collect football news, you know, from the college, from the NFL. We didn't get a chance to get to college tonight, but I try to collect the updated news of what's going on around the league and the NFL in college. And then I put it into a Google Docs. Any video clips that I want to show, I'll put into Google Docs. And so that will be the list of what I talk about that night. That will be like my script, I guess you could say. I didn't do that tonight. Tonight was just more free. It was just more free, you know, freestyling, you know, but that's kind of what I want to do throughout the day. And then by the time it gets to night or whatever, then I'll go ahead and just go live. And whenever I get a chance to go live, I'll go live and chop it up with y'all, you know, chop it up, talk about football. So yeah, the NFL season, unfortunately, it's almost over. But hey, we got Combine to look forward to, which Combine's pretty boring, but we got the draft to look forward to. So that'll be the next big thing, because Combine and Pro Bowl is fairly boring. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for participating. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you want more, come back tomorrow night and we're going to chop it up. If you guys want anything, if you guys want me to talk about anything, please let me know. I will be more than happy chop it up, talk about what you want me to talk about, do more research on your team or more research on a certain player, I have no problem doing that. And we can go deep into that. All right. So, whatever topic, football topic right now, let me know. Go in the chat, write it up, and I will definitely talk about it. All right. Deuces.